Hello puppy. Welcome back to this week's video, which is me trying in vain to get out of my sewing slump. I've been in a sewing slump kind of since the start of the year, and like a knitting and crochet slump as well, a crafting slump. Which is not like me, I'm usually an avid maker of stuff. And I think it's because I've been reading so much. Like, I've just demolished so many books this year. And then, as my reading has like come to an end, I'm in a reading slump right now, Tears of the Kingdom came out on Switch. And I'm just my interest is starting to wane a little bit for Zelda. And I've like got nothing in my head that's piquing my interest. Like, I've got nothing to focus on. So I'm gonna do let's try and get out of my sewing slump. Let's go back to another hobby and try and pique my interest in that. And I am starting by trying to just do a bit of a deep clean on my sewing room, on my craft room, to hopefully that will invigorate me to want to do stuff. I think part of it is because I have like half finished projects that I can't, like the dress I tried to make for the wedding, if you saw that video. It needs quite a bit of work and unpicking, I think, and I've just not got the skill or the motivation to do it. And then I've got loads of scrap fabric. Yeah. Like, how do you get out of your sewing slump? It's really annoying me. Like, I've tried picking up my crochet a few times, but I think it's because there's no decent shows I want to watch on like any of the streaming services. So I've not got something to like just mindlessly craft to. So I've got like a crochet jumper that I want to finish, a granny go round. And I've got like, I must have like 6 or 7 socks on needles right now. And they've all gotten to like a point where I have to think. Like, I'm good with just mindlessly knitting tubes, right? I can do that all evening. But I've got nothing to do it with. Maybe I can just sit and listen to audiobooks. See that my brain is chaos. So I'm going to try and get this room to be a bit less of a disaster. And we'll go from there, I think, and see if that helps. And if it doesn't, we'll move on to another technique. Maybe I'll try all the ideas, try and get out of my various slumps. But I think a good way to start is by tidying. And it's a Thursday. My little one is at nursery. I have now completed all my house chores I wanted to get done, plus trimming the hedge, which our brown waste bin now is extraordinarily full. So that's a future problem. Let's crack on. Shall we do one of those before and afters? So this is the current state of my space. I need to go out to the recycling. I need a thread catcher, right? Desperately. I need to make one. I've just got bits down here. That's my doom pile that's been fixed, ready to film. I just need to add all the other projects to that for my doom pile video. Again, the floor needs sorting. That's the dress that needs fixing. It needs hemming. Oh, I didn't realise there's so much fabric under here. It just needs a few. Yeah, look, I accidentally cut into the fabric when I was cutting out something else. Oh, that is quite visible, isn't it? I mean, I like the butterfly sleeves. Again, sort of mistakes up here. Maybe it's too many mistakes, but that's a lot of fabric to waste. I don't know, and see, looking at it makes me sad, right? Because all I see is 1,000,001 mistakes. How is that? There's a hanger down here for some reason. Yeah, not entirely impressed. And I just got, this is the leather space, the leather working. My iron that turns off automatically so I don't set the house on fire. I've been using that as a spare ironing thing because I keep burning this because, you know, let's set fires. Some cushions I need to make new cushion covers for. Some more fabric that won't fit in the under thing, chest of drawers. this just scraps. Yeah, so it needs a good tidy. Come back when it's all done and beautiful. Oh, I'm so bored. So I'll be listening to Babble. I got an Audible, and so far it's absolute excellent listen. If you are looking for any Audible recommendations, I recommend that one. So I got bored, and I have now stopped because of said boredom. But it is now at least hoovered. The rubbish has been taken out. I still that's scrap thing to deal with. It's embroidery stuff. I need to find a proper space for it. I think it was mainly the fact that I just needed to hoover. Those were a list of patterns I was like going to make, but I've lost interest, obviously. So I've not tidied the bookcase or the boxes because I reorganise this room so often. I don't really have the time for it. But yeah, a wee bit better. Now, I still have not got my sewing mojo back. I still feel incredibly unmotivated. So I don't know. I think the next stage is maybe just writing a list of everything I want to get done. Like what's kind of itching my head? What do I want to get done? And what do I want to do? And I think possibly cutting up all of my, start organising all my scrap fabric. It's organised into rough colours, but I just want to get rid of it. And I mean, I could sell it as it is on Facebook, but I would feel kind of, don't know, guilty about that. So maybe cutting it all up into like similar size squares, and then I can organise it way better then, because at the moment it's just scraps, and then if I want to make something with scraps, it's too wild. I crave organisation and symmetry, and I just want all the squares and the triangles to be the same size, right? So then I can do some scrap sewing, but with a bit more intention, a bit more organisation, a bit more, I don't know what the right word is. Like you see the scrap quilted jackets, and it's got like all a similar colour scheme, or all the quilt block patterns are similar. There's a theme. It's not just my approach of just going ham and being like a bull in a china shop, right? So I think that'll be my next step, to try and get my sewing mojo back. Also, I got some foundation paper piecing things with one of the sewing magazines. I rarely get them now because I have a digital magazine subscription readily. It's just an app. But I saw them and I was like, that's a good idea to try and organise scraps. So maybe I'll sit down with like my audiobook and do that for like an hour. Now my space is a bit tidy. Do a little bit of ironing and sort of deal with one colour at a time. Try and sew all those blue strips that you saw together, because that could clear up some space, and then even if all my squares are the same size, I can then sell them as a pack of squares, scrap fabric, like, I'm just trying to clear some space in my head. Yeah, and maybe this is all a way of me attempting to make the perfect pair of fitted trousers. I think that is the case, because I got the samplers that I want to make from In the Folds. I've had this now for I don't know how long, a very long time, and it's about designing a pair of trousers that are perfectly fit from you and teaching you the process as well. And I've just not worked up the courage to do it yet. So we'll crack on with some scrap sewing, I think, because I don't really have anything particular in mind right now. There's a million things I want to make, but I just can't focus. Maybe something mindless is exactly what I need. So I think we'll just start with these. Yeah, let's crack on. This is some of the sort of blues pack, but then this whole bag's full. It's kind of overwhelming. This is my sort of nautical themed stuff, so I might try and work on this pile for now. Iron it, and then either cut it all up into similar size squares and triangles, or just go straight with this and just try and use them all. Different designs. I think there's 2 different designs. No, that's 2, 3. So I think maybe this option is the best actually, because it's mindless. Use up these rubbish bits of paper, and then I get a finished product at the end to do something with afterwards. And then actually, so I've made a tutorial on these but I think it's kind of too small for what I want. So if I make more of these hanging baskets but in a bigger size, say to fit those squares, it would then I'll be able to hang them along here and make this slightly neater, or maybe along here, since yeah, along these black ones. Yeah, okay, we'll try that. 1 hour later, and this is all I've achieved. I do not like foundation paper piecing. I've decided it is not for me. I would rather put them through my cutting thing and then sew them together that way. But I have a few more blocks in my arsenal now. This is just so mind numbing. And it's just not, I don't know, I just don't like it. Because there's no end goal in mind other than reducing my scraps. And really, I feel like this has taken way longer than it should have, really. Yeah, this would be the big shot, so with the cutting plates. So by cutting these out first and then sewing them together that way, I feel that would have been a bit better, because there's the 4-inch square, and I also got a triangle piece somewhere as well. So I've been cutting out squares now for like an hour and a half, and I'm bored and my back hurts and I just want to sit down before bed. But this, I'm really not sure how far I've actually gone. So I've got quite a lot of squares and then quite a lot of little squares. So I think tomorrow I might carry on. To be fair, I could just go ahead and start making like a gigantic quilt top, or I'll start making, say, I don't know, just sew them all together and then I've got a piece of fabric, then I can make like an item of clothes out of it, like the quilted top. And then with these ones I could make a postage stamp quilt, like a long-term 20-year project. Yeah, if you have any ideas of what to do with millions of these squares. I've only done squares tonight. I do have one for triangles as well. And they're all my scraps, which honestly I think I am just gonna chuck, because I don't think there's any way of recycling them, and I don't make enough stuffed toys to make it worthwhile, fortunately. I do hate throwing out fabric scraps, it feels super wasteful. But this is a hobby I enjoy. It's a hard one to balance off ethically, isn't it? Because I mean, ethically I could just be like, look, I can't have any hobbies because there's waste involved in everything, but if I go down that rabbit hole, it leads just to sadness on the whole worldwide scale of things. I'm calling this a night. I'm rambling. Let's see if my sewing mojo is a little bit more revitalised tomorrow when I'm not absolutely sweating my... Good afternoon. This is a continuation of me trying to find my sewing mojo, and I have just uploaded 14 amazing free summer dress patterns, and one of those patterns was a shirred dress. And so this is part of my my goal at the start of the year to mood sew, and I really want to try this. So I am not going to run straight into the deep end with the pretty fabric that I want to make it out of, which is this thin polka dot fabric, which is so cute, but kind of thin, but perfect summer. I have an old duvet cover, which I got from a charity shop that I've had forever, and it's kind of half dyed pink, so I must have washed something with it. But I do have some nylon, like a navy blue that I've had for like years and years and years. I thought, why not make something and then just go ahead and try and dye it, see what it's like. Since this costs hardly anything, so this is what I'm going to make the dress out of. Which, the navy blue, the light blue is not for me, but the navy might come out quite nice, we'll see. So I'm going to try making a toil first, hopefully a wearable toil, instead of jumping straight in. So we need a few measurements first. First measurement we need is 1.5 times your bust plus 1/2 inch seam allowance. So, what is my bust doing these days? So I am at 30. I'm at 37, so I need 37.5 inches. And then the length of it is going to go from the top of your bust down to wherever you want it to finish, which for me is about my knee length. It's 31. Let's call it. Let's call it 32 inches. So the next stage of me trying to overcome my sewing slump has been me learning shirring, which you saw a few seconds ago with this dress. So this is my very, very first attempt and I love it. I love it. I think it's cute. So now we're trying to ride the wave. I still don't feel like my sewing mojo is back. I've just made a couple of cushion covers, which has been a project I've had on my to-do list for about 3 years now. So like mentally that's off my list now, which is nice. I did need new cushion covers. So I think that's helping, like just doing some of the more mundane, boring sewing tasks. But I did a free dress pattern recommendation video, which you can find here. And I am cutting out the Sadie dress, which has shirring in the middle. Trying to find my sewing mojo. Unfortunately, this is a part 1 because my sewing mojo has now still not returned. But I have now got a few more projects under my belt, so when I do get my sewing mojo back, I should be super productive. So I accidentally filmed all of this making it slow motion, but I ended up putting 1/4 inch elastic around here to get rid of the ruffles, and it helps keep it up, makes it really, really secure. And then I just used my serger, my overlocker, and then just took out quite a lot from up here, a couple of inches, and then just graded it downwards. I love this dress, and I actually will make this again in a proper fabric because this is just a toil. Shirring is not an exact science. So, and also definitely draw lines on because I can't sew in a straight line. It's quite difficult. And then I've got this like lovely slit up here. So this, yes. And then I do think like adding some little cute straps on will just make it look really cute and pretty and like fun and flirty and just a really easy make and pretty. So I think I'd like to make this out of like a really lovely floral, because then all the floral kind of hide this to a degree. But I did do it in not the same colour thread, so who's the idiot there? Me, I'm the idiot. So that was a success. That did spark a little bit of joy. The shirred waist dress, the Sadie dress, there is issues. So this dress, because it is a toil, it's supposed to be a wearable toil, I'm not sure what it is. I've tried some new techniques for me. So I can't remember what type of binding this is called. French maybe? Not French. I can't remember. I'll link the tutorial that I followed because I thought it gave a really neat look, but for this it's not giving, maybe it's a fit issue. And then I tried using the bias binding for the armholes, and I don't like it at all. It is way too much fabric. It's making it way too thick. And because obviously this is from Sew Mag, not really that many detailed pictures, and the written instructions were just blocks of text. But I did look at some YouTube tutorials, and this is right. This isn't wrong. But it looks really weird. So I asked on Instagram, like, how do I make this better? And the comment I got was lining the bodice and stitching, which, yeah, that makes complete sense. Which is what I will do for the next one. I have learned that the quality of the elastic you use is important. So I had to, the instructions said to do 5 of these at 1 centimetre apart, so I did 5 at half an inch because it's not that much off, but it didn't pull it in enough at all. So I went in between most of these lines and added extra layer with some new Shirring elastic, and it definitely pulled it in. And I do like the way this looks. I like that it's pulling you in at the waist. I do like the chest area. I think I would like to bring it down a little bit lower, I think. But again, that's something I can change on the pattern. I've got the pattern pieces now. I like the length. And then the back. This is my first time doing like back pleats in a bodice, other than like the pleats I've made before. I've never done this particular type, and I think it's good because it gives you some movement in your shoulders and your back, so you're not feeling quite constricted. So overall, it's a really pretty dress. It's a really lovely summer dress, and it's a really nice length. So I'm trying to think of the positives and not be so negative all the time. But has my sewing mojo returned? I don't know at all. I really don't know. I think making that dress again in that spotty fabric might be the trick. I think I'm ready to move on to an actual wearable piece of fabric, a real life fabric. So I'll see how much I have of that fabric and see if I can actually get. So I'd like to get 2 items out of that because it's quite a neutral. I'd quite like a shirt or just a top out of that as well. So we're getting there. We are slowly getting there. The spark's not quite back, and I really miss that passion, that creativity, that where your mind's just buzzing of stuff to make. Like you want to make everything, and it's amazing, and I am missing that right now, which is kind of sad. It is. I like that feeling. Maybe this is what life is like. Maybe this is what normal people feel like. Just plodding along. It's a crazy energy and like, let's make all of the stuff. Yeah, I'm so enthusiastic, and then messing it all up because I am a disaster. I am learning. This is a learning piece. And it's good. I need to think that this is good. I'm trying to slow down and learn. That is what it's about.